Good morning, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
How are you all? My name is Paul Church from Clarity Crafts here in the UK, and today we're joined by the lovely Deborah Wheeler. Good morning,
I feel
Deborah.
I should curtsy. Good morning.
Definitely curtsy.
Nice to be back.
It isn't. It feels like about a month ago.
That's because it was.
We were just saying, just before the cameras went live, that I can't believe it's the 28th. It's the end of the month already. Tomorrow it's St. David's Day tomorrow, isn't it?
It is.
1st of March.
Yes. Yeah. We should have had daffodils on.
Daffodils.
Missed that one.
Goodness. We could use your brushes that are back in stock.
We could.
They would take for daffodils, a bouquet of brushes.
Yeah, indeed.
So the lovely Gilly is in the room with you this morning. So if you have any questions, she's there to help. Hopefully the sound, there we go. Gilly's already texted me. The sound is good. Thank you very much, Gilly. So we'll just give it a few moments for some of our friends to join us, because it's a very fresh and crisp morning.
Oh, it was cold when I left home this morning at 6:30.
What temperature was it this morning?
On the car, it said it was above freezing, 1.5 degrees.
Oh, right, I had -2 this morning.
Yeah, well, you're out in the sticks. I'm in the big city.
There you go. So have you been well the past month?
Yeah. Lots of time with the grandson.
Grandson?
Yeah, he's lovely. He's very cute. Not that I'm biased.
No.
But he's very cute. It's nearly 2 months old already.
I know, that's what I can't believe this year.
Yeah.
I say we're at the end of February. March is literally knocking on the door tomorrow.
I don't want to talk like that, because I'm turning into my mother, who used to go, "Oh, I can't believe it's the end of February already."
I think it's an age thing. I do it all the time. I say, I can't
Did you know, actually, there's research that tells you why that is?
Right.
So it's about the percentage of your life that time is. So because when you're a kid and the school holidays feel like forever.
Yes.
That's because it's a much bigger percentage of the life of your lived life.
Right. Okay.
When you get to our rather more experienced years, 6 weeks. 6 weeks is a much shorter percentage of our life to date.
Right.
So it feels. So apparently there's research, evidence-based. There you go.
There you go. So who knew?
Every day's a school day.
It is indeed. So good morning if you've just found us. Welcome. That was very interesting.
Don't know where that came from.
Okay. So we're going to have fun today, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to do some crafting. So we've got 2 fantastic hours for you today. Here at 10 o'clock if you're joining us live, and then we'll be back at 2 o'clock. We've got 2 sort of styles of stamps, haven't we?
Yeah, they're quite different to each other, really. Small and larger stamps.
Yeah.
But actually, both work with
really well
little
together.
things, as well as one of the things I want to talk about today is how you can make smaller cards, but then scale them up to make a bigger card if you want them for somebody special. It's Mother's Day at the end of next month, so
of course,
you may be wanting to do slightly bigger
card, 12 by 12.
That might be pushing it for me.
Oh dear. So we've sort of split the shows into 2 different hours, obviously, and 2 different product themes. And Barb's actually blogged about it this morning. So if you go to barbaragrayblog.com, and we explain that obviously you come to us every month.
Yeah.
Normally around about this sort of time. It's a little bit later this month, I think, isn't it? Because of the shortness of the month.
Yeah, it's the 4th Friday of the month that I'm doing now.
And excuse me. And while Deborah's in the building, she goes down to our picking area.
I did last month. It was such fun. I got let loose in the stamp store.
And then she goes, "Oh, I like this one. I remember this one." So it's like a kid in a sweet shop. Really, really is. So she picks a couple of sets, and then we build the show around it.
Yeah.
So next month, we've already got 1 hour sorted.
Yes.
Haven't we? With a continuation of what we're going to bring to you this afternoon.
Yeah.
And then Deb's going to go down there in between these shows and have a look. But you were thinking along Easter.
I was thinking along Easter theme, because that's kind of second half of April, 20th, I think,
that's
is
right.
Easter
So that'll be the perfect
Sunday. So I was thinking on March show could be a kind of bit of an Easter theme.
Are you going to bring any eggs?
Fresh or chocolate?
I've given the warning. I've given the chocolate.
I don't think that was a question, if I'm honest.
It was a question.
I think it was an instruction.
No. So let me bring up the details of what we're going to share with you during this hour this morning. Now, if you go to the claritycraft.com website, then on the front of the page, there's a little blue button that says Clarity Crafts TV. If you click into that button, you'll find everything that that Deborah is going to share with us over the course of the 2 hours. So we've got collections in there, we've got items available individually, we've got all the sort of like the stamps, the ink pads, even got a little bit of groovy in there today as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to swap over onto my screen and let's have a look at the first collection we're going to bring you today. Now, I love this collection. This is the Mini Hobbies A5 Square Stamp Collection. So you've got 5 different sets here and they've all got individual themes. So working across from the top, you've got your art. So you've got your easel in there, you've got your paint palettes, lots of different elements in there, which we'll have a look at individually on the overhead. Then we go into our baking or cookery. So you've got your bowls in there, you've got your cakes, your cake stands, sugar and spice and all things nice. Then I love this one. Moving on to this is the corners and flourishes. Really beautiful. So some of our clever corners made that little bit smaller. And then as we come down to the bottom row, we then have our gardening collection with the wheelbarrows, the flower pots, forks. I'd rather be weeding than reading. Well, there you go. Some great little sentiments on there. And then finally in the collection, we've got the haberdashery. So you've got sort of like patchwork elements, you've got pin cushions, scissors, zips, the, what's the body called?
Dress form.
A dress form.
Dress form.
Yeah. So that's the whole collection for you there. So if you're interested in that, the item number is 10730. So if you look at the top of your screen, you'll see that 5-digit number. That's all you need to put if you're ordering via the website. However, you can call the office on 01732 868 215 and just quote that number and they can find that for you straight away. Now, normally this is £74.95 because they're £15 a set. What we're offering to you here today is 5 for the price of 4. However, if you belong to any of our clubs, so whether you are belong to 1, 2 or 3. So for example, if you belong to one of our clubs, you get a 10% discount. If you belong to 2 of the clubs, you get a 12.5% discount. And if you belong to all 3 of them, you get a 15% discount.
That's really worth having on top of that.
It really is.
That show discount.
Yeah, because that collection, if you're a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to £51. So it's nearly £10 a stamp. So when you look at it that way, you've got £5 saving on each set, virtually. So should we have a look at them in a little bit more detail, each of the sets? So where should we start? Let's go alphabetically. Sad, I know.
You do like them alphabetically.
So let's see, make sure I've got the right camera on, and we're going to go on there. So here you can see what it is. The item number for them individually is 1. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There we go. 10304. At the moment, I seem to have a number dyslexia. I can read the number, but I miss numbers off.
Okay.
I did it with a telephone number the other day.
Yeah.
Weird. So that is the artist collection. You can see, I love this one. This creates that scroll effect.
Oh, that's right.
So you've got that you put on the edge, and then you can continue it to make like a scroll piece, can't you?
That's clever. And there are some samples doing that. I saw those and was trying to think.
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Maybe I imagined it.
No, there it is. There we go. So have a look at that. So that and that one as well.
So this one has used it inside the easel here.
So you've got like a square.
To make a square.
Yeah. But it looks like really old vintage paper, doesn't it?
It does. It's been fussy cut. It's really clever. So that's layered onto that back piece.
Then we've got another one here. So that's using it's more of a sort of a panel. We've got some stencil work in there.
If I turn it sideways, then you can see
how you got that side scroll.
That's the side scroll is stamped here, and then this, which looks like an ECG reading to me, but that's because of the world I live in. Although actually you're not very well if it looks like that. Is along here. So the scroll either side, and then
that could be any length.
And you can lengthen it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another piece of artwork there. This is quite nice. It's that simplicity, but it really tells the picture,
I love clean and simple cards.
Yeah.
It's all one layer. It's lovely, just the tubes of paint and the palette. So you can go from kind of, full on kitchen sink at the card, real mixed media, everything in there, to really clean and simple and smaller cards. It's
Yeah.
the versatility is great.
So where you've got that one, which is clean and simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go.
This goes really in the opposite direction. Jane Telford's created that one. So I like she's used the brushes to create corners.
And these, I think, are the ink splat stamps, are they?
Possibly.
Or stencil.
Or it could be stencil. Or Jane may have just got creative and
she might have just done it herself. Yeah, thrown paint at it. But it looks fantastic.
They're really colourful. I mean, sometimes
it's
that's
one
what
layer,
art is
so
all
she's
about.
cut masks for it as well. These are all, it's completely flat.
And you can see how she's used that around the outside as well to create a larger frame. So that one there is your art collection. So the item number for that individually is 10304. Then we're going to go on to baking. So this is the baking collection. So the item number for that is 10302. And you can just see you've got the stamps there. These are all individuals. You've got some sentiments on there, sugar and spice, all things nice. And you can go, this is rather lovely. This is from Carol Pankstello.
Another great inky background there. Feels like it's done on watercolor card.
It does, doesn't
and then
it?
They're stamped in. So it's very...
So she's making the cake up here, and then she's eating the cake
down here.
there.
Yeah, it won't be easy, but it'll be worth it.
I'm sure it will be.
Every time.
Then this is nice. These could all be little mini makes, couldn't they?
They could.
Little
and
panels.
That's one of the things is, you know, you can make all these little toppers, but then just add them together and you've got a large card without having to start with a blank piece and scale it right up.
And then we've got a couple of little pieces here. I think these are probably little 4x4 pieces.
These are cute.
So you've got your cake stands on there.
Yeah, little cookies. Yeah, so that's been built up to make the cake stand.
Yeah.
Because the stand is a separate stamp.
And then finally we've got one from Julie Dunn. There we go.
Lovely.
That's using that.
It's the
what are they?
Burst stencils.
Burst stencils.
Circles burst.
Yes.
I always want to call it bubbles, but I think it's called circles.
Circles or bubbles. Yeah.
But the burst stencils.
It is
because there's different shapes in this. But that's lovely. Really like that.
Because again, they're just individual elements, aren't they?
Yeah, you're not trying to create a massive scene with those.
Then we have this collection, which is item number 10303. Now, I really like this. I'm a clever corner. I'm not clever. A clever corner person. I love the pattern building. And that was one of the things that I found when we're finding Barbara back in the day.
Yeah. And actually, if you've friends at home, if you've got the any of the clever corner stamps, you'll recognise some of these. There's the little honeysuckle one there. And that lovely calligraphy one, and I think that's ivy there.
Yeah.
So, but these are really tiny. You can see next to my finger.
They are. I mean,
they've got these lovely additional sentiments: sent with love from, made with love, to and from.
And you've got this corner
one, another flourish there.
Really nice. And so this is a comparison because this is the original size in the middle of that particular clever corner. And if we just slide that over and look at the smaller, look at the difference in the size, you see, and then just using those then to embellish it. Then we have, let's have a look, this one here.
This one I really liked because it's a wedding card.
Yeah.
But actually, who's done it?
Linda Spencer.
So Linda's used those floral sprays and then the bows. And the bows are here. There's an individual bow in the set. And then that spray. And then
she's used another stamp
That's
set.
Another stamp set with the Rogue swag. But isn't that just gorgeous?
That's real. I think that's the handle off of a stamp set of a basket, I think. Might be talking, if you turn it upside down, it's like the handle of like a wicker basket type. Yeah.
Could be.
Okay. Then we'll have a look at gardening. There we go. We've got the gardening set in there. So if you're interested in that one individually, the item number is 10301. And let's have a look. Hang on. Oh, so much. I love this one. Who did
it's
this
brilliant,
one?
isn't it? Deborah Mullen.
I love this card.
Isn't that fantastic?
I would buy that stamp set just to do that.
you old enough to remember Bill and Ben, the flower pot
Sort
men?
of.
Don't tell me your mum told you about them. But I mean, it's
so clever,
just
isn't
superb,
it?
isn't it?
Really,
So
really
good.
lovely on that one.
Love that,
then we've got, let's have a look. So this is nice. So just stacking up the little flower pots.
Yes.
Little sentiment.
These are all fussy cut out, and then a little sentiment, and that will be one of the stamps from the oh gosh, it's a big alphabet stamp with all the
I think we're looking at redoing that one. So watch
that's
this
got all the
space
little
on
postage stamps with
on
it.
there. See, and then you
lovely.
can go, look, little gift tags.
Perfect.
These are great.
Perfect. So that uses the to and from the
from the
set we were
previous
just
collection,
looking at.
the corners and flourishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got these. These are great for you, sort of like your garden markers, aren't they?
Exactly. And they're just stamped with the sentiments. And then you've got them for popping in your pots. Can write on the back what it is you're growing or think might emerge, and then just pop it in your plant pot.
And they've got
great idea. So simple, but really nice gift to somebody if you made a pack of those.
Especially if they love their garden. Yeah. And then we've got this one here. So it's using, that's an old stamp set as well.
But you could make the masks as well with the dies.
Of course you could.
With the tag label,
dies.
the tag dies.
Yeah.
And cut masks for it as well.
That would work really well,
but really pretty. But it just shows how you could make individual tags as well with it.
Yeah. And then I think the last one, so the item number for that one is 10301. And then I think the last one in the collection is the haberdashery. So if you're into your soft craft, or you know someone that's into your soft craft, this is a lovely little set of stamps.
But a few puns on here. So glad we're friends. You're so special. This one here, let me turn it around so you can see it. You make me so happy.
Now this card's rather clever.
That's just brilliant. I
so this is Sheila Metzeler. I really like that. It's a pin cushion, isn't it?
It is. It is. And she's turned them into flowers. Almost like seed pods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the background is one of those patchwork panels.
It is. It's one of these. It's this little floral one here.
Yeah.
Is this background for the background.
Really nice. I like it.
That's
it's so
different,
isn't it? And then just sort of simplicity is best. This piece here.
Lovely.
That looks like some of our netting, the lace that we do
on
the gel press.
You know, through the gel press that it's been pushed onto it. That's lovely.
We've got this one from Dee Paramore. Sort of, this is nice, using the little embellishments to go around the outside of a tag.
Yeah, so you've got the safety pins, the ribbon bow, and the zip.
Yeah.
Clever.
Really nice. This one's from Linda Spencer. So again, this is another one of the lace, isn't it?
Yeah. Done with the jelly press through the lace.
Through it. Yeah. And then this one is an unknown.
I just thought that was stunning.
Really nice, isn't it?
But that's back to that whole thing of
you can go
small, you can go big.
Yeah, because you've got the buttons on there as well. That's really, really lovely. So if you're interested in just a haberdashery on its own, then the item number for that is 10305. Right, Deborah. So what are you going to share for? Deb's going to attempt 3 demos in this hour.
I don't have a good record on 3 demos.
I'm going to be quiet.
Really? Okay.
Not very nice.
Well, no, just don't expect me to do all the talking.
Oh, sorry. Before we go one bit further, if you like those designs and you're into the groovy, they're also in groovy plates. So I'm just going to bring up some details on the screen. Let me just find my list. So that item there. So you've got a collection of 5 A5 square groovy plates. You've got the same, they're same but different. If we just have a very quick look, Deb, sorry.
Yep,
we'll just go on the overhead.
Yep, let me get
so if you want that collection, is item number 41507. You've got a £9.49 savings, so it's 5 for the price of 4 again. If you're a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to 32.27 from 37.96 in addition. So what we'll do, I've got the plates individually, just trace out, just to share with you. So there we go. So this is your artist one. Okay, so the item number for that is 41475.
Yep. And again, these are all separate little elements, aren't they?
They
They're
are
on one
indeed.
plate.
Yeah.
So this is as it comes on the plate.
It is.
Still be doing on Groover.
Yeah.
But then you can just use all the elements individually.
Yeah,
can't
that's
you?
right.
Yeah.
So you've got that lovely easel that you can put your own image in there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You've got your paint palette. So these are bigger than the stamped images.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have our baking one again. So you've got some additional borders in there. I mean, these could just be bags of something. You don't have to put sugar and flour.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. That apron's really nice as well.
That's lovely in there. So they're the same theme, but different.
Slightly
to the stamp
adapted.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's quite nice because if you use stamps and Groovy, you get
a combination.
You get more for your money, as it were.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're not just duplicating. That's the
now
word
this
I was
one
looking
is
for.
a lovely one. This is the craft room. So you've got your craft desk in there. You've got our toadstool Groovy plate up there.
There's a heat gun.
A heat gun, Barb's brushes, clarity mounts.
Oh, cool.
Brayer, glitter, loads of different elements. So this is really born to craft.
That's very
Isn't
clever.
Great?
Like
and
that.
you've got like the little pin board that.
Yeah.
But you obviously can take that away, and it's just a lovely
just a desk,
isn't it? So that's your craft room, 41476. Then we go back to our gardening. So you've got hanging basket, you've got your plant pots again. So you could do that little flower pot man in
you could
in Groovy, couldn't you?
There are the birds.
Yeah, it's got the roots underneath.
That's neat. That's so cool.
Your wheelbarrow, your wellies. There we go.
And a lovely bird table.
Yeah, so the item number for that is 41477. And then the next one, a final one, is the haberdashery.
Yep.
So if we compare, if I just bring the stamp in, just so you can see the difference and the size of the dummy. It's a dummy, isn't it? A dressmaker's dummy.
Word. Yes.
That's it, dressmaker's dummy. In comparison to, you could do those flowers that Sheila did.
Yeah, you could.
With that pin cushion.
Oh, there is a thimble in the stamp set.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've sat and looked at these because I've been making demos with them. And even now I look at the sets and I see more things in there.
Yeah. So there we go. And then you've got some patchwork in there. You've got those ribbons. So for the haberdashery, it's 41473.
Yep.
Okay. Right.
Excellent.
Now, I will let you.
Let me give you those.
What are you going to share with us, Debs?
Okay. So I was thinking about Mother's Day coming up next month, and lots of I mean, they work for lots of people and lots of occasions anyway, as we've seen with the design team cards. But I was just thinking it's quite nice if you're thinking about Mother's Day and making cards. They're perfect.
They really are.
If your mum is into any of these things.
Well, I'm sure.
Some mums are into motorbikes.
Cooking.
So,
art.
Gardening.
But
covers
just
a
those
lot
little
of bases.
corners. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what I was saying earlier was thinking about actually making us as what is essentially a small card, but scaling it up to be a bigger one.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about the mini makes.
So you can
that have
go
been so
small,
popular. Go small,
large.
but then how do you make it bigger without actually sitting down with this is a 7x7 card, without sitting down with the blank and thinking,
where do I start?
So, we've said before the
downloads.
Downloads and the ingredients lists are on the website as well.
They are indeed. So
under the show.
If we go to, so when you go into the Clarity TV little button on the website and you click on there, just when you go in there, there's a button that says catch up and craft.
Yes.
Okay. So you can go into there and you'll see all of our previous Clarity Social TV shows. And if we've done demos, then there's a link for you to click and download the demos.
Yep.
And many of our friends are collecting them, putting them in a folder when they get their product. When it turns up, then they can go back and go, oh yeah.
What else was there?
Plus you can go back and watch the live show and fast forward all of this chat until it comes to the demo.
Yeah. Plus, these will all go on my blog as well. So, I try and blog a card every day. So on deborahscraftyblog.com.
Yeah.
These will be appearing over the weekend. And first part of next week.
She hasn't done today's one yet.
I haven't done today's. That's all right. I've got a lunch break.
Have you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is the demo download for this one. So it tells you the time, the 10 and 2, the date, what it's called, what was made, and then you've got a list of ingredients that Deb's used.
I've realised that I've called it kitchen.
Yeah.
And you've been calling it baking.
Bakery. Yep. We can change that.
Okay.
Yep. That's not a problem.
That's my fault.
Yeah. No, not at all. Kitchen, baking. Same thing.
Yeah, as long as you've got the number,
which is also
on the download. Sorry, I spoke across you.
Yeah.
Then, hang on, where am I? Here we go.
Hey.
There we go. As long as you've got that number,
yes,
then
you'll be able to find it.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So let's go with this. Let me
This
lose
is
that.
really nice. So you've used the baking one or the kitchen one. You've got your cake on your cake stand.
Yep.
You've got your cream tea and a lovely little sentiment.
Yeah.
But this background as well.
Well, I love a gingham tablecloth.
Gingham, yeah.
So I thought, so how did I get that? How did I get that?
How did you get that?
Right. Well, we're going to do a bit of stenciling to start with.
Okay.
And I'm using the vertical stripes box frame stencil.
Okay, so we've got that on the show, which is item number 00853.
There is a companion one to this as well, which is diagonal stripes
as well.
But I just think these are really useful with the box.
Yes, because you've got that
because that's where you can put your image, your picture.
And it comes with the piece in the middle as well.
It does.
So
this piece.
It's just there in the back of the packaging. Okay.
Now, 2 ways to do this. Because this piece here is not 7 by 7. It's smaller.
Okay.
Right. So you've got 2 options really, and it depends what works best for you. One is you can cut the card to the size you want.
Yeah.
So I've cut this down. Not even sure what size it was anymore.
Let me find my trusty ruler.
But then you need to get this. You need to get it absolutely lined up on the back of the stencil. You can see there because you can see it through from behind. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, or you're using an offcut.
So let's have a look at inches. So that is, it's about 5.5.
About 5.5.
About 5.5 by 5.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other option, though, is to do it on the full 7 by 7 piece of stencil card.
Okay.
Which is helpful because the stencil is also 7 by 7.
Yes.
So you know you're going to get it on straight.
Hopefully.
Thanks for that vote of confidence.
Is that some of that lovely low tack
Oh
tape?
yes, look, hello.
You've got a low tack tape. If you want one roll of that, it's item number 31211. I say everything's on that show page on the claritycraft.com website.
So I'm making a hinge on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I literally put the tape across the top of my stencil.
Okay.
Lined them up so that I knew they were together.
Yeah.
And then fold the stencil over onto the back of the card.
Okay.
Down here.
So it creates that hinge.
You've got a hinge, which means you can check your work as you go along.
Right. Okay.
The other thing I'm going to do is use this little bit and mask off the centre with the stencil.
Of course, yeah, because if we look at, I thought that was a separate piece of cards initially, but yes,
you could easily do it as a separate piece of card.
Little piece in there, it's perfect then, isn't it?
So exactly the same way as I do an embedder.
Embedder, yeah.
More of that in a minute.
Ooh, okay.
And then so it fits perfectly in that little box. Just doubled over masking tape on the back, and then sit it in that little box. Give it a good push so it doesn't come off. Okay.
Okay.
Right, let me grab a bit of copy paper.
So it's 2 parts. So you've got and I suppose what you've also got is like another little embedder as well, haven't you?
Exactly.
Lovely.
You've read my instructions, haven't you?
I have read your instructions.
Okay, I've got a couple of inks. I've gone with Kitsch Flamingo and Shaded Lilac. They're Distress Oxides, mainly because they're most of what I've got over the years. I need to build up my Distress ink, but Distress inks will work perfectly as well. But yeah, the Distress ones are lovely for this.
The oxides.
Oxides or the inks.
Yeah.
The inks work just as well.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to start with the pink. Oh, Lord.
And are you using our new backing stock stencil brushes?
I am.
You are indeed. So we've got an offer on those, and we had a bit of a brush party last week. So the item number for the brushes is 31763, and you get a pack of spot-on sponges.
Yay!
Included for that.
Love a sponge as well. Right. So I'm now just brushing the ink into the background. Now the thing with this stencil is particularly these top ones, the stripes will move.
Oh, I see.
Can you see? It's just moving slightly there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go up and down against it because you'll move them and you'll get blurry.
So you go with the flow.
Go with the side. And I've got my hand on the stencil. I'm going to do it in sections.
Okay.
Just to help hold. Can't speak now. Help hold the stripes steady.
Yeah.
That.
There we go. That was a bit of a mouthful.
It was.
And it's nice because with the brushes, you can sort of start to build up the colour, can't you? You're not going on heavy and stuff like that.
These side ones you can go slightly diagonally on because they're fixed to this inner.
So it's got some rigidity to it. And what made you choose the two colours you've gone for, Debs?
I thought I don't know. Okay. They were sat on my desk. Oh, gosh, I wasn't ready for you to ask me that.
Do you have favourite colour combinations when you're working?
I do. I go to pinks and the kind of tealy blues.
Right, okay.
So if you can see, I've just got it held down over these top stripes as I come down the bottom here.
And it's really nice because it gives, I mean, we've got a vast range of stencils on the website.
There we go.
But can I zoom in a little bit? Should I zoom in and come down? Let's going to go to, hang on.
Sorry, I'm in your way.
No,
there we go.
There we go.
Yep. So nice pale pink, and I've got a nice edge around it. I've not touched this in the middle. Okay. I've left it where it is.
Okay.
Okay. Because the next thing I'm going to do is turn the stencil round.
Oh, right.
Which is how I got the checks.
Right. Okay.
So just peel it off the backing piece. Having left that in place, then I know this is going to sit back over.
Oh, it's like a positioner.
Yeah. And obviously, particularly if you decide to do it with a smaller piece of card that's not the same size as the stencil, if you pre-cut your card, then you want to make sure that you're bang on with it.
And you're putting it back in the same direction as before?
I have, but I didn't mean to. Thank you. Good job. Someone's paying attention here. There we go.
Already you can see that gingham, that check effect, can't you? Before you've actually introduced any additional colour.
Yeah. So I haven't bothered to clean my stencil actually because it's such a pale colour.
Yes.
But actually, if it was a darker one, you can, with that left in place, you can take it off, wipe it off with a damp piece of kitchen towel.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go again.
Lovely. So something so simple as a stencil like this, it can create so many different backgrounds. And as you mentioned earlier, Deb, there's the vertical one as well. There's a whole collection of these box frame type stencils.
Yeah.
There's like a cracked box. There's, I think, like a tree box. And we often forget what we have in our collections, don't we?
Well, I've always been in danger of just looking at them and just seeing them as they are.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, rather than what they can be.
Yes. Okay. I think these soft colours, I mean, it gives it that subtleness, and I think it really does.
You could do this with one colour, actually.
Yeah.
You know, you get the gingham, and then you just get different. Sorry, I'm losing the ability to speak this morning. I'm really sorry.
Obviously, passing it on.
You'd get gradients of colour.
Yes.
You know, as you do in a single colour.
You're intensifying where it crosses over.
Yeah.
And could you go really tech and go sort of like tartan, and because it had different. But there's a couple of
we've got on the bigger stencils. We've got the ones that are bold and wider and narrower stripes.
Yeah.
But they are full stencils. So if you used one of those, you would need to use a square mask for the centre to do this.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another way of doing it. I didn't think about that. Right, okay. Let's have a look what we got. Ta-da.
Nice. It's so subtle, isn't it? I'm going to come in a little bit now. So we'll zoom in on that one. So you can see that is so soft and subtle. It sort of reminds me of sort of like a fabric cushion.
Yeah.
It's sort of this. It feels soft and gentle.
I'm just wiping the worst off there.
Okay.
For the minute, because I still haven't taken this off.
No.
Because I want to use that now.
Okay.
For a different purpose.
And what purpose would that be?
I'm going to use it as an embedder.
Of course. Yes, while it's in place.
While it's in place, don't move it.
Makes perfect sense.
It's already in there. And that's the great thing about lots of the stencil shapes or the infills that come with stencils, you can use as embedders as well.
Yes.
Which, I know this is exactly the right size for the stencil. But also it gives you a wider range of sizes.
Yeah, because if you've got like you've got the squares and the rectangles, or you've got the nested ones.
Those, but actually with the other stencils, there are often infill bits that are negatives and positives. And you can use those as well as embedders. Of
course, yeah.
It's all just the same principle. So same way as I would with an embedder, leave it on the front. I'm going to flip this over to the back.
Okay.
Get my trusty kit out.
Now, if we'd had our old camera, this would be going in and out, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Right. Just rub it over with a, and you know I love an embedder.
I mean, it's such a game changer, isn't it?
Definitely.
For something so simple, but the effect.
Because I make a lot of clean and simple cards, it just adds that additional framing without putting another layer on or adding more colour or whatever, but it just frames your image. I love them.
Okay.
Right. As I don't possess Paul and Barbara's titanium thumbs,
right.
I use a bone folder.
Okay.
For locating the stencil.
Yeah.
The thing. If you've got really strong thumbs, you'll have seen Barb and Paul do that. I can't. So I find this handy curved one. These are cheap as chips. Online.
Bone folders. Yeah.
Yeah. So start out here.
Yeah.
Got it slightly angled. Slide in, and it will butt up against the edge of the embedder. I've hit it, and then I can just go up and down.
Okay.
I don't know if
there we go.
As I turn, it's caught the shadow. There you go. So you can just see. I can see where it is now.
Yeah.
So just whip that round all four sides.
Okay.
Turning the paper, not my card.
Because you've got an inky paper, haven't you? So you don't want to contaminate your artwork.
Partly that's true. I should have turned it over. But also then you don't run the risk of dislodging your embedder off your card.
Keep moving it, absolutely, yeah.
And then I'm going in with a number 2 groover tool.
Try coming in on this third camera that we've repositioned. So let's see if we can get that. There we go.
Okay. Right, let's go in. Good. It'll probably pick up my tremor now as well.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we can really see that coming in from that different
angle. So this is fantastic. This is the getting it located and then going in with the number 2 groovy tool.
It really sharpens it up, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even on the back, it looks really good on the back.
So it's proud.
Yes.
On the back.
It's embossed
embossed outwards rather than debossed. And actually that might... Oh, I'm sorry.
No. This camera. There we go.
You spoke too soon.
It's a different camera, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, that's a good effect as well. If you want that effect, then pop your embedder on the back.
On the back and do it.
And then you can get it forward standing.
On there.
So if we go back to the front of our card now.
Yeah.
And I'll just lift this off. Ta-da.
There we go. So let's swap back over to the overhead and see if we can get that on there. So do you want to give it a little wiggle, Deb? See if we can. There we go.
Yeah, look, you can see along here.
Yeah.
So it's embedded, but I've still got a white frame around the edge.
We're going to come in a bit closer. So
stand by.
Have a look. There we go. And that will just, just a little bit.
There we go.
There. Yeah, look at that.
So that's lovely. I've now got a great frame.
You have, yeah.
For my card.
That's really nice.
But it also means I'm not trying to create an image that's on this size card. It's down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. Okay, so where do we go next?
Right. So as I've made it on the 7x7 card, I don't want a 7x7 piece on there. I could cut it with my paper trimmer.
Yeah.
But that relies on me having got the stencil straight on the card.
To start with. Yeah.
Which I've been known not to do. You may find that surprising, but I've been known not to do that. So what I tend to do is I use one of the nested dies.
Oh, yes. Yeah, which we will have on the show page.
They're in my other boxes for this afternoon.
Right, so these are the normal nested square dies.
Yes.
That you've then just die cut. So there'll be one that fits just slightly bigger than that aperture then.
Here's one I did earlier.
We take it off.
I'm sorry.
White. That's right, just so we can see.
There
we go.
And the great thing about that is you can position, even if your
card is wonky,
it's slightly wonky with your stenciling, you can position the die exactly around your stenciled area. So you then cut it straight.
That's a really good tip. Yeah,
and I do that quite often when I'm when I'm making things that I then want to cut down, instead of trying to go down with the paper. Also, you can see it and you can make sure that the edges this side are equidistant.
Yeah, I mean,
have you ever done that with a paper trimmer and you wind up with something that's this big because you've got a different size?
It's like that whole thing, cutting the fringe, and the next minute it's gone. But yeah, no, often you can do that, can't you? You start on one side, then you turn it around and cut it, then you cut it. And by the time you've gone round, you say you end up with from a 7x7 into a 4x4.
Your borders aren't equal, and it's just so it's much easier with a nested die.
That's a really good idea. I didn't even think about that. Okay, so where we
right? Let's do some stamping.
Okay,
let's do some stamping.
So you're using the bakery or the kitchen collection?
I am.
Okay.
What do I need? I need a mount.
So it's really nice to sort of. We'll just have a look at that collection on the screen while Dev's getting those bits together. So you've got that complete collection. It's basically 5 for the price of 4. Item number 10730, £59.96. If you are a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to £50.97. So it's near enough. It's £10.20 per stamp set. And when you look at the content of each of those stamp sets, and it will cover, you can obviously got the mixability of them. But if you're into your ATCs or your mini makes, then these are perfect little pieces of artwork. Okay.
Right. This might look a little odd.
Okay, so
I've layered stamps.
Let me just take that. So, right, so you've got your cake.
I've got 2 stamps.
Yeah.
So I've got my stand and my cake.
Okay.
But I want the cake to sit on the stand.
Yeah, of course.
So I need to mask it off.
Right.
Because I don't want the line of the cake stand going through the cake. So I find the easiest way to do this, which might look a little bizarre, I'll obviously have to cut a mask for it, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Is to actually pop my cake stand on here where I want it, and then just sit my cake stamp on top of the cake stand stamp.
Of course.
Okay. So I know it's in the right place.
Oh, that's a good idea. I would have just eyeballed it.
Yeah, well, I'm on telly. And then if I go on top of here with my mount, I've lined the bottom of my mount up. It doesn't quite show on
because the angle of that frame.
With the edge of my frame.
Yeah. Okay.
Pick them up, and then I can just lift the stand off there. So now when I go down, I know that this is in the right place.
So what you've done, you've used the mount to act as a stamp positioner, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So famous last words. Let's ink up my cake.
Yeah. So this is all going to be on one layer now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I would have thought, I don't know, maybe I would have stamped the cake out separately, just cut it out and stuck it on top of the cake stand.
Which you could do.
Which you could do.
Yeah, absolutely could do. Right, one cake floating in midair.
Okay. A cake.
So, there aren't masks with these sets, so I cut a little mask.
You've created your own one
for my cake from the blank mask material.
Yeah, which you'll find on the website. So we did them in A5 and A6. If you want some A5 blank mask material, the item number is 30363. If you want some A6 blank mask material, then it's item number 31686.
So just a tip about cutting the masks.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of mask material. I've got little bits of offcuts in my folder that I just keep because they're really good for small stamps like this. You can't stamp on the mask. It's plasticky.
Yes.
And it'll just slide and smear off and or take 3 days to dry.
Yes.
And you generally want to make your card before then. So a thing to do, and equally, you don't want to stamp on the backing paper.
Because that's slidey as well, isn't it?
That's slidey as well, but then you haven't got it to, if you cut this backing piece of paper down, where are you going to store your stamp? Store your mask afterwards.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm doing all this in the wrong order.
So you're going to stamp up your...
I'm going to stamp my cake onto, I'm sorry, I was off screen, onto a bit of copy paper. It doesn't matter if it's not come out perfectly as long as you've got the outline.
Yeah.
And then I can pop the mask material over it.
Yeah.
You just come up here a bit more. And you can see the cake through it. And then I just cut through both layers.
Yeah.
And then peel the copy paper off the back. And then I've got my mask.
Your mask for your cake. And that you can do that for all of the
that
different
works for
elements.
everything.
Yeah, any stamp that you have in your collection. Not necessarily just clarity stamps.
And then I've still got this bit, which when I've cut that out, that will sit on here. In my storage folder, and we'll just pop in the back of my stamps.
Yeah, and if you look at that stamp set itself, for example, you've got the little jug, you've got the cup and saucer. So if you want to, there's definitely enough room on that little bit of waste, isn't there?
Definitely.
That you can create multiple masks from that tiny little piece.
Yeah. Yeah, because I did the same for the teapot.
Okay. There we go.
So I can head back in then and stamp up my cake stand.
See, that's really...
Because now I know my cake's high, but part of the reason for doing that is knowing that this is far enough up here.
And because you've created the outer frame first, whereas if that was just a big piece of 7x7, you could have stamped anywhere, couldn't you, really?
Yeah.
And then put your frame around it afterwards. So there's different ways of approaching the different, to get the same end result.
So I'm just going to pop my cake stand in.
There we go. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
And it looks strange at first, doesn't it? With the
looks
cake
really
on
weird.
the top.
But when I peel this off, there we go.
Yeah.
My cake is now sitting on my cake stand nicely.
There we go. We'll just move that over to there. So now, look at that. You would have thought that that was one stamp, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But you've now got that versatility because you've got the cake stand, you've got the cake, which is separate. And I suppose potentially looking at, you could just take that away, couldn't you? So you'd have a lovely,
you just have like a plate.
Yeah. Really nice.
Okay, so I'm going to pop in actually I'm a bit far over on this one maybe. Right, I'll do these separately. So you can see on here, look, I've come over a bit further on this one than I did on my original, if you look.
Yeah.
I'm right over by the edge of the frame there and I've got a gap here, but it's all right.
Doesn't matter, does it?
So then I'm going to pop in the tea set.
Yes.
So same principle again with the cup and the milk jug.
Yeah.
Stamp them, mask them, and then plant the teapot,
put that in the background,
which goes behind it. Let's see if I can fit them in. This will be interesting. Actually, I'm going to stamp my cup first because that's the one to the side.
Right.
And then I can line the other one up against
from the outside inwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always useful to think about where your reference points are for positioning.
So I think this is really nice because when you look at all the different elements, if you've gone for the whole collection or you've just gone for an individual set, I mean, whether you just do it on a 3.5 by 3.5 piece of card or whether you do exactly what Deborah's done by taking that and creating the framework first to create a larger piece of artwork. And I suppose at the end of the day, I'm not going to say it yet, we'll talk about it towards the end, because you've got these lovely designs. You've got the bakery one, you've got a slice of cake already cut, you've got your mixing bowl, you've got your scales, you've got Kiss the Cook. It's quite good, that one. For my sweet friend, sugar and spice and all things nice. So there's I love the egg on there as well. Sometimes you forget what is actually on the stamp set, don't you? As you said earlier, you didn't realise on the haberdashery one that it had the thimble on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, so I've stamped up my teacup and milk jug.
Yeah.
I've masked them off, having cut masks out for them exactly the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ink up my teapot. This looks like a Wedgwood teapot. Just have a set like this.
Other brands that are available.
When I'm stamping behind for something, then you want to stamp it slightly higher.
Right.
If you stamp it at exactly the same, because if you think about perspective, things that are behind, if you look at the ground ahead of you, it looks higher than the ground that's here.
It's closer
so you just want to go slightly above.
So not at the same level.
Not at the same level as my teacup and milk jug.
Okay.
But if you go just a bit higher, I'm trying to avoid your cake stand. Not a lot. I mean, don't stamp it in midair.
Above the cups.
Actually, let me get rid of that ink before I get covered in it. Okay, and then I'll just whip these off. I find these dressmakers pins really handy when I'm dealing with really little masks.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, and
there we go.
And then once you've created those masks, you've got them.
I've got them now.
Again these
sit in my folder with the stamps. So I've got them ready. There we go. Nice. I've got a slight overlap on my cake stand. That's not the end of the world.
I suppose if you're going to introduce colour, you'd maybe just go a little bit more heavier on the. I'm going to zoom in a little.
Yeah.
There we go. So we'll come in. There we go. Yeah. So you would just go a little bit more heavier on the colour on the thing to block out the cake stand, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's nice and simple. But you've got that little scene already. But you haven't. It's on a big card, but you haven't had to make a big scene.
Yes.
So make a big scene.
She doesn't like to make a scene, do you, Debs?
I don't.
Okay.
So I coloured those with pergoliners.
Yes, which should also be on the page.
Here, sorry.
So did you use?
I used polychromos as well, just to get you. Yeah, I think you can see on screen. Just see. But I put some shading underneath them as well, so they just don't look like they're free floating.
Yeah.
And a nice Victoria sponge for my mum. My mum loved a Victoria sponge.
And was it just it's a combination of wax-based pencils, the pergoliners?
I usually use the wax-based. Yeah. There's actually although the A pencils have got these lovely golden coloured ones, which I thought were perfect for a baked sponge.
Not burnt.
And then I picked up the other colour to match my gingham tablecloth and then my mount.
Yeah.
So that was just a piece of companion paper. And I think this one's Rainbow River.
Yeah, so when you think all the companion papers, so depending on what colour options you go for in with your ink pads, there's definitely going to be a companion paper that will complement those ink pads, won't there?
Definitely. A tip from experience is you might want to choose your colours and your paper first and match your ink.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I can spend longer trying to work out what matches as a backing paper than it takes to make the flipping card in the first place.
Yeah, right.
We've all been there, haven't we?
And then just attached using a tape runner and a little finishing touch.
And then final touch was a pinky grey word sticker.
These pinky grey stickers are fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, here's my little packet of them.
So we'll have those on the show as well. And
they're so good. What I like about them is they're kind of rectangular.
Yes.
And bigger. So rather than just the straight lines. So then you've got with those and the other word stickers. I use the Kiss word stickers a lot as well.
Yeah.
But then you've got both options depending on the space on your card.
Yeah. And it's like, so the Kiss stickers, we've got a number of sticker booklets on the website, but for the Kiss
Pinky grey.
So you've got me
catching
31639 for those.
And I simply, so I found I Love You Mum for Mother's Day.
Perfect.
And then I simply backed that on a bit of the offcut of the companion paper.
Yeah.
Dropped it in there, and then that was it.
Really, really lovely. I'm not going to say it's simple, but it's effective, isn't it? Because it's that simplicity, I think, of the designs, and I think it's the same for all those 5 sets in that collection. That you've got the simplicity of the designs that you can mix and match and build your own composition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. To fit. Yeah. There's a little slice of cake you can use out of that. So you could put the cake stand and a slice of cake next to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Lots of different options, as we saw from the design team cards. Actually, the set doesn't have to be about baking because you've got that lovely heart in it.
Yes.
As well. So with a little cake. Then you've got a birthday card.
Really, really good.
That's so pretty.
So shall I have a bit of a recap?
Would you
believe it or not, Debs?
Don't tell me.
5-2. 5-2. Are you able to talk us through?
Yeah.
Because I think this the garden one.
I'll talk through the garden one.
Yeah.
And then the other one I was going to do, we'll show people and I'll blog that.
Okay.
Over lunch.
Perfect. Right. So I'll have a look at the complete collection while you get your bits and pieces together, so to speak. So you've got this, the mini hobbies, perfect for your mini makes, especially if you're taking part in the ATC swaps over on the Clarity Crafts mini makes and ATC Facebook group.
And I think today's the last call for registering your interest to take part in the March one.
Okay. So the item number for this collection is 10730. I think I said that right. 10730. I really have got a thing with numbers at the moment. Mini Hobbies A5 square stamp collection. Normally £74.95. You've got a saving of £14.99, which is the equivalent of 5 for the price of 4. Brings it down to £59.96. Now, if you belong to one of our clubs, you will get a 10% discount, and that brings it down to £53.96. If you belong to 2, you get a 12.5% discount, brings it down to £52.47. And if you're a Diamond Club member, then you get a 15% discount, and that brings it down to £50.97. Okay. I think Debs is almost there. Now, if you like this sort of the theme of the hobbies, then we also have the Groovy collection, which we just showed very briefly at the beginning of the hour. And the item number for the Groovy collection is 41507. It's a combination of 5 A5 square plates. The saving on this is the equivalent of 5 for the price of 4. So it brings it down to £37.96. If you're in one club, it brings it down to £34.16. 2 clubs, £33.22. And finally, if you're a Diamond Club member, £32.27. Okay, we almost there, Debs?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and I'll do a couple of tips with this one. Key tips.
So this is where I really like this card. It ties back to the sort of the mini make element, isn't it? Because they're all individual little pictures.
Yes. Yeah, which again makes it easy to make a bigger card.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to, you don't get overfaced with a huge expanse of card and thinking, where do I go with it? Yep. So I've used the clean and tidy layout.
I know.
Stamp for this one.
I thought I've seen it. I couldn't remember because it's a lovely stamp set, isn't it? We'll bring it in just to show on the overhead.
There's a partner one with that's got so this is the square clean and tidy layout.
And you get 2 stamps in this because you've got your outline, haven't you?
Yes, and then you've got the infill
or a backdrop
even.
Yeah.
So you could use this on its own, which would give you white lines.
Yes. Which is
as
very
for your
clever.
frame. I've used this one, which is the simple black frame. The other great thing is it comes with masks. So actually, if you want to create different backgrounds in these, you can mask all the other sections off.
Yes. And
expose one at a time and create a specific little scene within that.
Yeah. And you get the 2 masks in there, one for the infill and one for the outside. So the 2 different masks. Now, normally this is £31.98. You've got a £10 saving, which brings it down to £21.98. Now, as Deb's mentioned, this is the square version. We then have the circle version. So item number 11323. So I love that when you turn them around.
That's the other thing. They don't have to be.
No, the way it comes in the pack.
That way you can any of them, depending on what scene you want to create and how you want to use the different. So this is almost like a different.
It's like the easy layout, isn't it?
It is, but a different take on the die cuts that we've got.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And then the final one in that collection is the balance, and the item number for that one is 11367. So it's like the yin and the yang.
I've forgotten about that set. I don't think I've got that one. I might have to go shopping.
Like it that I like that.
That's nice. Like that.
Yeah. So they're all on the show page, but Debs has used the square one on this one, which is on your screen at the moment.
So I started with an inky mop-up, and I know Barb was it last Friday? I don't know, when was it?
We were here last Friday. I'm sure we were here last Friday.
Was talking about making inky mop-up backgrounds.
Yes.
Using the blending mat and a poly bag.
Yeah.
I've got a whole folder of inky mop-ups. I can't bear to waste anything. So, because quite often if I'm watercolouring, I'll be using distress inks or distress oxides.
Yeah.
And then I've had them on my mix mat or on my blending mat. I don't just clean that off on a towel.
No.
I give it a good spritz with water, and then, hey presto, let me move these out of the way.
Look at these.
I've got all sorts of backgrounds in my folder.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. do you write on the back?
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I knew you were going to say that. Write the colours on the back. That would be a no then. No, I think because we get carried away with creating.
I must write the colours on the back.
Yeah.
And I don't.
You don't. No, it's easy, isn't it?
I can usually have a fair guess.
I suppose because you've got your favourite colours.
Yeah, I know what I tend to use.
Yeah.
This one will be Mowed Lawn because that's a bright green, and that's probably ripe persimmon. And I think that's probably picked raspberry, and there might be a bit of squeezed lemonade in there.
Nice.
But you can usually find something.
Really?
So
a little bird.
Oh yeah, it's amazing what you see.
So you've taken a selection of your inky mop up.
Yeah. So you find one that's kind of got the colours. Let's have a go at this one.
Okay.
Right. And then I'm just going to ink this stamp up and plant it.
Okay.
Good analogy for the gardening set.
Plant it, absolutely. So there we go. And I think it is. I've had completely forgotten about this range of stamps, the clean and tidies, and to have the outline that Debs is using here, but then also to have that, it's like a big backdrop or a full surface stamp, isn't it?
Yeah. But these are perfect for the little hobby stamps.
Yeah.
That sit really nicely in the windows. I'm giving it a good old ink up.
Yeah, because it's a fairly big old stamp.
It is. So I've got it on I think this is the 5x7 mount.
Yeah.
I've got it on. And then you can decide which bit of your paper you want. You can see, again, I'm stamping it before I cut it down.
Yes.
You could cut it down and then stamp.
It's up to you, isn't it? It depends. Some people prefer to cut down to size and then stamp onto it. Others then, I mean, I quite like that idea that you had of using the dies.
Yeah, and so that's what I've done with this one as well.
Yeah.
Because then I can line it up exactly around the stamp. Because there's even more danger with a stamp that you won't be square on.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I thought that might happen, which is handy. So I don't know if you can quite see on screen. Maybe we can zoom in.
Right,
but it's not come out totally.
Do you want me to go in
perfect.
closer?
Go on then.
Yeah.
Let's be daring and do
up
it.
A little. There we go.
Look, can you see it's a bit, it's not completely sharp here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's difficult to stamp over it again.
Definitely.
Okay. I could chuck it in the bin.
Barb often says, don't stamp over it, get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Well, but there's another way to get over it.
Okay.
With this. Ask me why I worked this one out.
How did you work this one out, Debs?
Well, Paul, because every time I've stamped it, I've not
because
managed.
It is a big stamp.
They're difficult.
Yeah, they can be, and it depending on your ink pad as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the ink pad, not the stamper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the tools, not the operator.
Yes. Sometimes it is. You know that well-known IT phrase? It's a picnic.
Remind me.
Problem in chair, not in computer.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks on screen. This looks like I'm a little way away from it, but actually, as I'm directly over it, I've got my ruler bevel edge down, so my ruler's not flat against it.
Yeah.
And a micron pen. This is a 08.
Okay.
One. Okay, and I'm literally then just going to go along here with my pen. I don't have to cover the whole thing. It's quite surprising what.
Oh, so you're reintroducing.
So I've just sharpened it up. So actually, if you get that with a straight line stamp, and actually with other ones, if you've got a steady hand, you can draw it in freehand with a.
Yeah.
If you get a bit doesn't come out.
That's a really good tip.
But it just sharps it. You don't have to do the whole thing either. Just sharpen up the bits where it's not come
just
out
missed
as
a little. Yeah. That's clever. Very clever.
Yeah.
Okay. Super.
Which rescues it. Nice. Right. What I would then do with this, most definitely, is the nested square die and cut it down. And I found them now because they were in this box.
Right. Okay.
And the great thing about these, we've got these. They're on the.
Yes, they're on the show page. Yeah.
The great thing about these is you can decide how big a frame you want.
Yeah.
On it, depending what you're doing.
You've got 11 different sizes in there, and it goes from 1 inch up to 6 inches
in half-inch
increments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, they're quite good for doing this, and then if you want to cut them out, use the next size up.
Yeah, for your matting and layering, and also for gutting the paper behind as well.
Yeah, I do that sometimes as well if I'm putting them out for a bigger piece.
Yeah.
So you've still got another piece of companion paper or whatever to use. So I would, do you see, you can just line it up.
Yeah. And if you want a bigger frame, you go for the next one up.
Yeah. And then cut it, and then that's what you get.
Nice.
The other nice thing about cutting them with the die rather than a paper trimmer is that you get that really nice edging on it.
Embed. Yes.
It's got a slightly embedded edge on it rather than the kind of harsh,
just
straight cut, clean cut. So you get a kind of nice little finish, which you probably can't see on screen, but does come out nice. So that's what I did with that to then get that.
Okay.
These of course are all individual.
Yeah, of course.
So I can't ever replicate it. Yeah,
no, absolutely.
Yeah, I could mop it up with the same colours, but it wouldn't look exactly the same. And that's what's fun about them.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of deciding on your stamps and popping them in.
Direction as well, isn't it? Whether you want what way you want to build your scene, so to speak. Whether you want to, maybe you want it that way. Maybe see, you've got 4 different options in that one stamp, haven't you?
Yeah, I would decide on my orientation. Well, with something like this where I've got 2 clear colours, I'd decide on my orientation before I stamped.
Yes.
Because doing a gardening one, I quite like the green for the ground.
Green for the grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
But actually, having this one that I just stamped on, it's not such an issue because I've got more of a mix of colours. Although it's quite nice with the green through there if I want to ground it.
Yeah.
But it's a case of just looking where your colours sit and thinking, oh, what, can I use that? Look, there's blue here. So I could have gone a different way, and then that gives me more of a sky effect up there.
And I suppose because you've got the masks included in this stamp set, you can introduce colour as well.
You can cover the bits up and then just sponge off the edge.
Yeah.
Introduce it or brush it in if you want to cover the whole piece.
Yeah.
But it's a great way of using up these
inky mop-ups.
I've got loads of them. So just to talk, I'm conscious of time, but just exactly the same as I did with the cake.
Yeah.
I've stamped and masked. So here I stamped the watering can first.
Yeah.
And then I stamped the flowers. I masked off the watering can, and then I stamped them. So the flowers are slightly behind.
Yeah.
Same with the gloves and the fork.
Yeah.
Stamp the gloves first.
Yeah.
Cut a little mask for them, and then stamp the fork.
Nice.
The plant pot was easy.
Yeah.
These flowers are nice. I quite like them. They kind of grow out of the frame.
Yeah.
The other thing I've done with these is this is a solid black stamp. So I've introduced colour in the others.
Yeah.
The grey is polychromo. And the nice thing about this is you get a bit of texture through. So like my watering can looks
yeah, it looks very rustic.
Weather beaten.
Yeah.
Because you've got the
translucency of the colour coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. This one, which is solid black, I've actually, if we can see, got a bit of colour on it.
Yeah, I can see it's got some green on the...
It has. And all I did with that was drew over the stems with a green pergolina pencil, which stops it looking solid black.
Yeah.
Just puts that hint of colour in with it.
Nice. So really, so if you've got these clean and tidy stamp sets, all of a sudden it's opening up this whole collection of mini hobbies, isn't it? So, and you've then got that, as Barb often says, or you said earlier on, rather than go for a big piece of card, start off small. I think that's why the Mini Makes Facebook group has proven really popular.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing here is you're just building potentially little scenes within each of those
multiple
boxes.
Little scenes, which means you're not restricted to a 4x4 card.
Yeah.
It's fine if you want one. They're great and really useful, the 4x. But one of the things I was thinking was, well, but how do I take Mini Makes and just, if I want to make a bigger card, where do I start? Well, you make lots of little scenes like this one, or you create a big border like I did with the cake one. And that way you're still making a smaller, you're still making a smaller card image.
With your composition of your artwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's just got the sentiment on it and the word stickers. This is going on the blog tomorrow.
Tomorrow's blog. Okay. What's on today's blog? Have you decided yet?
I'll show you one now.
Okay.
Just quickly show you, and then I'll blog it over lunchtime because
duper.
we're at nearly 10 past 11, and people will be wanting a cup of coffee.
I do.
I know.
Okay.
I was being diplomatic.
Okay. So you're going to show us, did you say?
Yeah, I'll just show you my other cards.
Right.
And then, which are quite fun.
I like this. I think this is quite nice because I think if you've got a newborn baby, we have a look at this. I think this is quite nice. It reminds me of sort of like a children's cushion. You could do it in blue, you could do it in pink.
Yep.
For
so
like
it's
a
the colours.
newborn.
It's the colours that make this. Yeah. Really. So these are little note cards. These are 5x5 note cards that I've made. Just using the little fabric sample off the haberdashery and different ones of them. So these little stamps here, which I haven't really taken a lot of notice of before.
No.
You know, you kind of look at these, which are the main sewing ones. And then I was looking at these and thinking, which is obviously why I never noticed the thimble up here because I was looking down here. But I was thinking, oh, how are you going to use those? Julie Dunn is the pattern building queen on the design team. So I channeled a bit of Julie Dunn and thought, I know I can build a pattern.
I like this.
One colour, dead easy.
Yeah.
But basically, here's one I started to prepare that I've done in pink. I've used the mini archivals.
Right. Okay.
Which are great for colours.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of mini archivals
so I use this
on the website.
top set.
Pink
peony.
So it's
this one here is the pink peony.
Yeah.
Out of that set.
Okay.
That's the poppy, which is out of stock at the moment.
Yeah.
This is cobalt blue, which I've got in a bigger ink pad.
Yeah.
But you know, with the and with the little.
And you've used a little 4x4.
Yeah, you don't have to cut up a big piece of paper, which always breaks my heart. I have to take a deep breath if I'm going to cut up a big piece of paper.
There we go.
But they're really handy for this. So all I've done on a 3.5 piece of stencil card.
Yeah.
Have we got a minute for me just to do
a
quick bit of stamping? I love a quick bit of stamping.
A quick bit of stamping, no pressure.
All right, let's get my stamps out. I'll function a lot better that way.
When you look at this complete collection, you've got 10730. And if you're a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to just it's literally £10.20 per stamp set, which is nearly a third off, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a £15 stamp. And all those different little elements in there. So, I mean, all available individually as well. So if you go to the show page, you'll be able to find those. Okay, so let's have a look what Debs is up to.
Okay, let's give it a go. I've chosen the sky blue archival.
Yeah.
This is quite good with archival because it's a sharp image.
Yes.
So let me just move that up so we can see. Now, I'm just going to stamp them in a pattern of 9.
Okay.
I've tried multiple ways to work out how to line these up.
Yeah.
I've drawn myself guide squares and missed it completely.
Okay.
So I basically do it by eye now. And don't stand chatting when you've inked up with archival. And just kind of aim for the corner.
Okay. So there's your first one.
That's my first one.
Yeah.
Okay. For my next one, I line it up, but I use... Yeah, we can see it on screen. Closer? I use the edge of the stamp, not the edge of the image. Wait for it to focus.
Right.
Edge of the stamp, not the edge of the image.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I line that up against what I've already stamped down.
Yes. Oh, so it's giving you your
so I get a little spacer.
Clever. This would make a really nice sort of just even a row, wouldn't it? Yeah. And I suppose depending on the colour, you could use an alphabet, so you could spell out a name.
You could. You could. So kind of 3x3 squares are really nice for small cards.
Yeah.
And then likewise, coming down, I'm spacing it with the edge of the stamp. So I start to come down and build.
Yes.
Which then takes me through to a 3x3. What I then did, because I quite like the edge on this, is I used the Pico
dies.
Nested dies, which look like they're done with, I thought it looked like it was done with pinking shears.
Oh, cool.
Am I overthinking
this? No, that's, pinking, because this is the haberdashery set, and you've got that sort of pinking sheer effect
on the
stamp.
fabric and on the fabrics, because you know that's how fabric samples are cut as well. Yeah. So just cut it down with that. And again, it's great because if you know, it's really hard to stamp it exactly within the square. So stamp it down like that and then use a die to line it up. Good. And then all you need is a bit of
little paper just to bring it onto.
A bit of paper. And not only, but also,
yeah,
you don't have to do them in one colour.
And the different patterns.
And the different patterns, so you can mix and match. There's so much. So when you look,
so you've taken that one design and used the same one.
Yes.
In all 9 panels.
Yes.
Then you've got this one here where you've used
that's the gingham check. Yeah. This is the floral
print, and then the one in the middle is combining the
mix
two.
And match.
And you've still got that third one as well.
Yes, which is the little dots on it, which I haven't used at all yet.
Wow, that's real. I like those.
Great packs of note cards.
Yeah, packs a lovely punch as well. really,
so
really
I'll
lovely.
block this one properly because that was a bit of a gallop.
Super duper. Okay, so we're off to have a coffee
or two.
And so thank you for joining us. Thanks for Jilly for helping out in the room. Hope you enjoyed the hour. Hope you can come back to 2 o'clock where we've got another collection of some of Barb's favourite stamps. These are the word framer ones.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're great.
And there are, I think there's 8 in the series.
Yeah.
And what Deborah's going to do for each month, she's going to focus on 2 different ones.
On like a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've put a pair together, which you can find on the show page. And it's a thank you word frame and the joy. So really good for throughout the whole of the year.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for your company. Thanks to Deborah. Lots of hints and tips on there. And we will see you at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Take care now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.